All right, my friend. It looked like going in on Friday night at about 10 o'clock. I thought, my gosh, this is going to be some weekend, and then it went the other way. Your level of optimism that we're going to see more than one ACC team in the field coming next Sunday night.
Well, it depends who wins Saturday night. Because if Clemson wins, I think it's a lock that the ACC gets two teams.
A lock?
A lock.
A lock.
Because I think...
Okay, I hope you're right.
Because I think SMU in this week's poll is going to flip spots with Miami and be number 6.
Okay.
If that happens, I cannot see them losing a championship game and getting knocked down 7 spots and out of the playoff. So even if they're at number 7, they're going to be far enough into the top 12 that I don't think a loss is going, especially a loss to another ranked team, is going to knock them out. Now, if SMU wins, you've got issues because it is all going to depend on where they slot Miami on Tuesday. If Miami is still within the top 12 going into the weekend and not playing, that's a good thing. But it's not a guarantee.
No.
But I think that there's a chance, but I think there's a better chance of Clemson. Well, I think it'll definitely happen if Clemson wins. If SMU wins, it's up to the whim of the committee, and we know what their history is.
So I had an online conversation with somebody who fancies himself a knower of things, and I'm not saying that this person is wrong, but who told me that when I look at Indiana, this is what I'm saying, I see an absolute fraud. I'm not saying that they're not good, but the only way that you put Indiana in the field based on their record versus who they played, because they played 3 teams. No, I'm sorry, Penn State played 3 teams. Indiana played, I think, beat 2 teams with a winning record.
Yeah.
Right?
Clemson's only beaten 1, by the way.
No, I'm not. By the way, I am not lobbying for Clemson. They had their opportunity, and they blew it, and now they'll have to win their way in. If they win Saturday, they're in. There's just no other way around it. They win the ACC. But had they been 10-2, had they beaten South Carolina, I think you could make a great argument that Clemson goes in over Indiana, and I did last week. I wouldn't make that argument now. Had Miami not lost to Syracuse, we wouldn't even be having this discussion. Clemson would be not even a question out of the field. But I don't get Indiana with no credentials, no good wins, legitimately no good wins.
And the Ohio State loss becoming even worse now because of the loss to Michigan.
Yeah, the Ohio State thing is more curious to me because I think the entire Big Ten is relatively fraudulent. I think Oregon is great, but again, I'm not sure they played anybody good in that league. Ohio State's offense never came around. At any point this season, Ohio State's offense, it just never looked right.
What kind of a dagger was it, too, by the way, that they lost to Michigan? And about the same time, the quarterback that they let walk out the door, actually they pushed out the door last year, took down Miami and is leading the country in passing.
I mean, that was, but like they tried, Michigan tried to not lose.
Yeah.
Right? Michigan almost actively tried to not lose that game and still won it on the road. Michigan wasn't very good. I mean, I understand why they weren't very good. So many of the players are in the NFL now, and their head coach, who is one of the greatest head coaches we've seen in the last 20 years in college football, or in the NFL for that matter, is now coaching back in the league. So I get why Michigan had a rough season, but Ohio State did nothing that they were supposed to do this year. Yet, based on Penn State having a great record without beating anybody, Penn State beat 3 teams with a winning record this year. Nobody better than 7-5. Nobody. I don't understand Penn State's value. I just don't get it. No, Illinois is 9-3. My fault for to me Illinois is a fairly average team, but that's the best team that they have beaten. I don't get the love for Penn State. I'm not saying that they're not good, but I don't get third in the country. I don't get that. And that's Ohio State's win.
Yep.
Right there. That's the one win.
Michigan's AD is the committee chairman, right? And they've got a very active propaganda arm. So
yeah, they do.
That's it. And by the way, you talk about Ohio State. I think the fact that their coach is going to get fired if they don't win the national championship, if they lose the national championship game on the last play of the game, he's getting fired because he can't beat Michigan. And that should say something about the quality of the Big Ten.
I don't, for the life of me, I don't get it. So if you were Jim Phillips, what would you be out saying right now? How would you lobby for, like, especially because I'm not necessarily on the same page with you, Brett Friedlander, Saturday Down South ACC columnist at BFriedACC on Twitter. We need to get you on Blue Sky. We need more people.
I already am.
Okay.
I am.
No, so
still BFriedACC.
All right, good. I'll find you on Blue Sky, and they'll have more people in the community to discuss things with, because it's a little lonely during college football Saturdays over there.
Yep.
If you were Jim Phillips, how do you sell? Because I don't agree. I don't think it's a lock that SMU stays in the field with a loss on Saturday night to Clemson. What would you be screaming about right now?
Well, I would be screaming that their only other loss is to a ranked power conference team, BYU, and it came in a game before they put Kevin Jennings at quarterback, who absolutely ignited that offense. I would do that. I would also say that the only other loss is to a conference champion. And I would also be banging the drum that, Miami's 2 losses have come against Syracuse, a ranked team with the nation's best passing offense.
9-3.
And to a Georgia Tech team that, until Greg Sankey called out all his chips and gave Georgia a little help there in the fourth quarter to get into overtime, took Georgia to the penalty kick shootout. So, and oh, by the way, you want to talk about ESPN ratings, because that's what we're talking about last year with Alabama getting in instead of Florida State. Hey, Cam Ward's going to drive ratings, so I would be out there banging all of those drums and hoping for the best.
So Miami played Florida, beat Florida like a drum.
That's their best win,
right? That is their best win, unless Duke is their best win. I don't get why Duke's not ranked at 9-3. Based on the season that they've had against the schedule that they had to play.
Well,
they played a pretty decent.
Pete Gillen, Duke is Duke.
Yeah,
it's a basketball school.
In basketball, look, They beat Florida. They beat Virginia Tech. Ended up a bowl team. They beat Louisville. They beat Duke. I don't. For the life of me, don't understand. Those are good wins. Their 2 losses, Georgia Tech and Syracuse, I think look pretty good.
Hey, by the way, put Duke's resume up against Illinois' resume and tell me
or Indiana's.
Right. And Indiana's. and think about this. If Duke converts one of those 6 turnovers against SMU,
make 2 field goals.
That's a 10-win season, and you got 2 losses in the ACC. I don't know what the tiebreakers would look like, but they'd be in the running for the championship game.
It's all insane. I just don't share your same level of confidence that if Clemson beats SMU, that we're just not going to see one ACC team. Let me.
Now, the caveat to that, though, is if they lose to Clemson, it needs to be a close game. If they get blown out by Clemson, then all bets are off.
I don't know that Clemson is capable of blowing anybody good out. When they played NC State earlier this year, NC State was far from good. I'm not sure they're good now. But it does lead me back to this game, State and Carolina. What do you make of Mack Brown's comments after?
Well, he took the high road. That's all I have to say about that, because he was seething. Well, yeah, because basically he said, "Hey, I agree with the with administration that there needs to be a change." So
right.
I mean, he could have really gone scorched earth.
Well, he sort of did by saying I was going to retire Monday, which, man, it's kind of hard to believe that if he was going to retire Monday that he would have not told them that.
Yeah, and by the way, he came out the previous Thursday saying, I want to come back. I'm going to come back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he tried to soften the blow, I guess, and make it look like that it was his decision. But, hey, listen, it was ugly. It was ugly before. It was ugly on the field. It was ugly after the game, and when they tried to plant the flag and everything. And oh, by the way, when did that start being a thing? Because it needs to stop.
Well, you don't. I see. I don't have a problem with planting a flag, especially when you're on artificial turf and you can't actually plant it. So I don't know that I saw anybody from NC State actually trying to plant the flag. I saw the end of the Michigan game. I thought there was more waving than anything else. There's
also pepper spray in that one.
Was there pepper? Oh, that's right. There was pepper spray. Lovely. Not a fan of pepper spray. I hope it probably shouldn't have been necessary. But if you win, I think you earned the right. Especially you win a rivalry game on the road, wave your flag. That's fine. I got no problem with it. If you lose that game, maybe you just walk off the field.
Yeah.
It just seems like, we should just be able to do that. And then we have these dumb conversations about planting a flag. I actually do remember Baker Mayfield when he was at Oklahoma actually trying to plant the flag on an artificial turf field, like trying to drive it into the turf. And I'm like, you were not on academic scholarship, Baker. That is Brett Friedlander, Saturday Down South, ACC columnist at BFried ACC. Also on Blue Sky. I will go follow you, sir. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure, Adam. Thanks.
You got it. Brett Friedlander here on the Adam Gold Show.